Hey guys, welcome back to Sockets and Sideburns. So the first job to complete on Clara the Clio, the high level brake light, third brake light, this thing. Now this job goes the same way on all the Mark II Clios, however there are two different types of light fitted to these. Now I've tried to discern any kind of pattern as to which one is fitted to which Clio, however it doesn't seem to be related to year or colour, so I don't know how Renault determined which to fit to which vehicle. Although if I had to guess, I'd say it's probably trim spec, this one being a dynamique. Thankfully, it's super easy to tell them apart. On the lens, on the other one, it's just a solid red. And as you can see on this one, we've got like a clear section with a black surround. Now, it makes no odds either way, as I say. It's the same to replace either one. Just make sure you get the right lamp for your car. Now with these, it's usually the connector itself or the actual entire light unit that's gone. Well, let's not assume. I mean, we do have power to the lamp itself, so it's probably not going to be the connector, but we'll still have to open it up and have a look. Problems like that aren't usually resolved by a good rap-a-tap-tap, so to me that points to something loose or corroded inside the lamp. If I had to guess, I'd say that this is probably the root cause. Right, so to get at this light unit, basically this whole rear spoiler has got to come up and off, and then it's mounted to that. So we'll pop the boot up. And then there are 6 T20 screws holding the spoiler on, 2 in the middle here, and 2 on either end, there and there. Whip those out. And these little washers type things come off with it as well. Make sure you keep them somewhere safe. I'll just stick them in the boot. Again, these ones have little washers on as well. Just make sure they come off with it and that you keep them within. These ones were more kind of lugs than they were washers. Just make sure you keep them all safe. And then we'll just drop our boot back down, nice and gentle. And then there are just 3 pop clips holding this spoiler on now. 2 at either end, about a hand's width in from the edge of the spoiler, and 1 in the middle. So what we want to do is start at one edge and then work our way across. If you just get your fingers underneath it, don't force it, but it should just pop out. And then you just work your way across through the middle, reach underneath, and just pop them out. And my side one's gone as well there. And then we can just rotate our spoiler up. You may wish to cable tie it to something. You could use the aerial if you're going to leave it up for a long while, if you're waiting for a new light. You wouldn't want it to fall off or stress the washer hose or the connector here. I'm just going to leave mine propped here on this washer hose end here. Seems pretty stable like that. It's not going to go anywhere. Okay, next we've got to get this connector off here. There's just a clip mounted to the actual light unit itself, and you're just going to pry that up and keep it up with your thumb, and then you can pull by the socket, not the wires, and that connector will just slide out. Just remember that it was routed above the washer hose itself in relation to the spoiler, and we'll get this down. I'm not seeing any real corrosion or anything in there, so I'm not thinking it's going to be corrosion that will be the problem. We'll have a little look up in here too, where the light unit has actually got some prongs, and they do not look like they have any corrosion on either. What I will do quick before I disconnect the unit from the car itself is I'll just probe these, make sure we've got a good 12 volts to that. All right, I think it's kind of pointless at this point, but I will just probe and check just quick. this connector on the car, make sure we've got good voltage there, and that if we wiggle it around it doesn't suddenly drop out or anything like that, considering that we can get the light to operate if we give it a good whack. So this connector, it's prongs what it goes onto on the light unit here, so you will need some pins or something like that to get down in here and probe this. I've just got some back probes that I'll be shoving in here, and then we'll stick it on the meter and see. You will also obviously need a lovely assistant in the car to depress the brake pedal for you as well, or you can wedge it down with something. There we go, can we see that? That's 11.34. That's more than enough to run this. We'll just give it a good wiggle and jiggle around. Make sure it doesn't suddenly drop out anywhere that it could have been affected by us tapping it like that. And it's staying, as you can see, completely consistent. So I'm going to call that the lamp's the problem. So I will just take all this back away again and whip the lamp off. Now obviously I will be also having a little look for any corrosion on these pins on the light unit itself. I can't see any from here, but even if there was some, you want to take the light unit off. You don't want to be trying to wrestle that and clean those pins up there with this still mounted on the spoiler and risk it falling off the car. If you did find that either the connector on the car was corroded or that it was corroded in here, you just want to get some contact cleaner on those and give them a good clean out, and then give it another go and see if that improves your problem. However, in our case, I think it's going to be a new lamp. So to get this off from the spoiler now, it's just two more T20s, one here and one here. Put those somewhere safe, and then the unit should just lift out of the spoiler. There are two clips here, but it literally just lifts up, out and away, straight out the top like that, and rest that back down. I'm also just going to give it a quick bench test, power it up on the bench, just for extra confirmation that I can recreate the fault with the light off the car, which is obviously going to completely rule out anything being wrong with the connector or the wiring on the car itself. Just be aware that this connector does have polarity on it, so you've got positive on the right pin with the clip at the top here, positive on the right pin, and negative or earth on the left pin there. Okay, you don't have to do this test, as I say, I'm just doing it for extra confirmation. Just need a 12 volt power source. I'm going to be using a M12 Milwaukee battery, and using crocodile clips to get on these pins with a nice bit of insulating sleeve on them so we don't end up shorting the pins together. Get negative on the left, make sure it goes on with a nice solid connection. Push that sleeve right the way down. Let's see if we can't jam these in here so that they can't possibly move around while we're giving the light a tap. Okay. Okay, so there's power there, and we've got these multiple not operating LEDs that are dimmed out. If we can just try and keep that completely still with the crocodile clips and just look at that. And we see that flicker in there as well. I would say we're going to have a fractured connection in here somewhere, possibly immediately where this connector comes in. There we go. Can't really say fairer than that. These are wedged in there, they're not moving around. We're not losing the connection at the battery end, not from just a little tap like that. Yeah, definitely this lamp, toast. Hello there. So, next day, and here's our new one. As I said before, I can only find this style of light available new as a genuine Renault part. I picked this one up from Renault Parts Direct, ordered it at 12:45 and it was here the next day at 3:30, so well done to them. I'll leave a link both to the light that I've brought and the other style down in the description. Since I was leaving it standing overnight, I just put the spoiler back down onto the car and just on the clips and fed the connector back through this hole here. I'll just pull that back up to where it wants to be. Get the connector back through. And that's where we left off. Now refitting is basically just the reversal of removal. Right, so we'll just offer our new light on. Just get these two clips, although they don't actually clip in, slide through the two slots on the spoiler. Feed it into there. And you could screw it on before you test it, but I'm just going to do it now before I screw it on. It's not really going to go anywhere from there. I'll just refit the connector. Remember that it goes above the washer hose. That's its routing. And make sure you get the right way up so that clip will engage properly. And you should hear a nice click when you've got that in all the way. And then from there, I'm just going to give it a quick test. You could screw it down now, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. So you have to get a lovely assistant or wedge the brake pedal down just to test it. And we see what we get. Now, just be aware, it might be a little bit dim, but what you certainly shouldn't have is any dropped out LEDs. But if you start the car, you'll find the voltage will increase and it will probably get quite a bit brighter. And now if you press the brake pedal, you might find that it's a bit brighter like that with alternator voltage, because the lamp voltage is actually 13.5, but we won't have any dropping out LEDs or anything like that. Okay, with that tested, we'll screw it back down onto the spoiler. And just be aware that these are just self-tappers, these T20s. So make sure you get them straight on. They're just tapping into plastic. I'll run both of them in part of the way and then finish pinching them off. Just a little pinch, don't go crazy because it is all plastic. Make sure it's good and tight. And then we just flip the spoiler over and make sure, line up the clips with the holes and just make sure that that washer hose is correctly routed and doesn't get pinched by anything. There's just like a spacer, a pillar here. Just make sure it doesn't get pinched by that. And then let it down. And then just give a gentle slap on her rear end over where each of the clips were. You might hear them pop in, you might not. Should be obvious if they're engaged. Everything should be nice and flush. Boot up. And we'll just refit these 6 T20s into here. I'll start with the middle ones. Now these go in horizontal in line with the boot, so they're actually grabbing at the spoiler. You can't really put them in the other way, they won't grab onto anything. And I'll just slack them off about a quarter of a turn until I've got them all in. There is some wiring down in this one, just push it to the side Make sure you're not actually running your screw through it. And then the two on either edge. Make sure you've still got the little washers on there, just to protect your paintwork. And on the other side as well. And then final tighten our two middle ones. And then the 4 on the sides. And lastly, we'll close the boot. Boom! No, just kidding. We probably should do something about that though, or this lamp might go the exact same way as the last one. Right then, that's all finished. Unfortunately, it was the whole lamp and not just the connector. Now, I might take the old one apart at some point in the future, see if I can figure out what caused it to fail. Maybe I'll make another autopsy type video like I did before on the throttle body. Perhaps there'll be a chance to repair the old one, but we'll see. As always guys, if you've enjoyed the video or it's helped you out at all, please hit the like button. If you'd like to see more content from the channel in the future, don't forget to subscribe. You can also find me over on Instagram @Sockets and Sideburns. Thanks for watching guys, I'll see you in the next video.